Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once about all the updates and news, you'll be the first one to getting all the insight. Now, first of all, it's towards the end of 2023. So before it goes, I would like to sincerely greet everyone a Happy New Year for the upcoming 2024. And obviously, if you have been following our channel, you may notice that I have been utilizing the AI technology to introduce more languages and services for the coming future as well. So as long as the Department of Home Affairs and Immigration continue to improve their technology, well, slowly we're looking to implement a much quicker and better service for any customer or viewers in the future. All right, so let's return to the topic of what we got to discuss today. Obviously, we got to talk about the action plan. You may notice that there on the migration strategy, there is a action plan, which obviously talks about the future, the actions that the Department of Home Affairs and Immigration looking towards to implement in the future. So I would like to take a discussion and explain all of that, so you may you will have much better view of what's coming up in the future. Now, before we go into that page, obviously I would like to well, it's end of the year, by the way, so why not have a little discuss about what had happened in 2023. So well, 2020 has been a tough year, haven't we? The border opened on 2022, and the change of government from Liberal National to Labor back in 2022, and there has been a introduce of a job skill expansion of the migration quota. However, I think the most discussed topic in 2023 is, well, you probably already, you can probably predict it. It's a housing crisis. So it's a very big issue. First of all, I don't think the government is not capable of solving it, but having so much delay and causing the population and discussion in regards to restrict on the migrants is somehow, I don't know, political, perhaps. You may have your own point of view anyway. So what had happened is in early 2023, there has been a migration review report, which was gathering all the recommendation from stakeholders. Stakeholder means industry body, from business group and blah blah blah, all the different kind of group, uni, Australia, etc. And they have provided a review report which basically points out numbers of improvement and recommended improvement for the Australian migration system to actually be evolve in the coming month and years to come. Okay, and since then there hasn't really been much going on, to be honest. We thought things will be implemented starting from July 2023. However, we are, it's December 29 today. There hasn't really been much of being implementation from the recommendation solely, despite of having the employment sponsor visa, which is the good one. They raised the TISMIT from 53,900 to 70,000, and then in November, I think it was 25th November, they have introduced that the drop down from 3 years to permanent residency down to 2, and they include the short-term skill occupation is allowed to transfer into permanent residency as well. So that was it. Okay, and right before Christmas there was finally an invitation round for 189 visa, but I don't think there were many being invited to be honest. Just in a way, I believe that the government is looking towards to putting actual action rather than telling the public restrict numbers of permanent residency invitations or allocations for 2023 because of what? Housing crisis. Anyway, let's have a look at what's gonna happen in 2024. So let's jump in there. You may find this piece of documents from Home Affairs website. If you wanted to just type in migration strategy action plan, you may be able to find this piece of document there. So this basically laying out what the government has already done and what they looking towards to do or implement in 2024. Now, bear in mind, it's an action plan. There is still a reform going on. Remember, if you have been following my channel long enough, every advice or whatever the idea that Home Affairs Minister they put in out there with media, normally this new idea requires to go into Parliament. So the both parties, Labour and Liberal National, they gotta fight, argue, discuss, and then the law will come out. So until the actual law is out there, then it's concrete. Otherwise, it's all still in the discussion. Although they have a plan, but you know, it's usually not going straight forward. It's unlikely. I've never really seen any immigration policy or perhaps any law go so straightforward. It usually go deviate a little bit. So let's take this as a reference for the future. So first of all, we're looking at the left-hand column. It says targeting temporary skill migrant to address skill needs and promote worker mobility, which is very good. I'm pretty welcome in regards to the future policy in regards to the employment sponsored visa holders in changing employer. I think that idea is very, very good, rather than the existing policy or regulation actually enforce the power of employer to actually restrict the employee in a way. It's really unfair. Okay, so the measure is raise the Tismin. We have talked about that's already done, so implemented on July 2023. Second point is provide pathway with permanent residency. That's already done on the 25th of November this year. Develop new skill in demand visa and specialist visa and the core skill pathway. So these three pathways will be implemented in late 2024. So we are probably expecting the new three pathways that's gonna embedded or perhaps replace the current TSS visa by perhaps October, November 2024 or December perhaps, I don't know. Usually will come in 1st of November or somewhere there. That's how they name late 2024. So, and if you want to know more about the skills in demand visa and all these pathways, you may want to check out my previous video that I've talked about that in detail there. Legislation and indexation and income threshold maintain system integrity. So the TISMIT in indexation from 1st July 2024. So it will be like a variable interest rate. You know, it's gonna adjust over time, and then the streamline on the labor market testing to reduce complexity. Look, this one. I thought they got to remove the whole LMT. However, what they have done is in late 2000. What they have done is they remove the Workforce Australia. They say implement Workforce Australia changed late 2020. So there's no longer requirement to go into Workforce Australia to put a job ads. But you still need to put 2 job ads for whatever other reason, okay? I believe what happened was they probably throw this idea into the parliament and say, look, we don't need LMT anymore. And the opposition will go, no, then you cannot prove that there is a need of skilled migrants overseas. You still need to give an opportunity to the locals. Well, and here we go. So they only remove Workforce Australia for the job ad, which is I mean, which is really doing nothing. It's still sticking in the origin. There's not much of change by means. I've said something in previous video in regards to that as well. Okay, implement 4 to 6 month LMT validity in late 2024. So I think they already got that done in the piece of legislative instrument that in my previous video I have shown to everybody. Okay, take a coordinated evidence-based tripartite approach to identifying skills needs. So implement, I'm not too sure how they're going to do that, and what they meant by evidence-based and tripartite approach, not too sure. I think the Job and Skill Australia will come in as with a role on doing that. But let's wait and see. Okay, establish best practice service level agreement, process time, and modernize the accreditation pathway to better compete for talent. Not too sure what this really meant. I think what they're trying to say is we're gonna make our system better to actually attract more talents around the world. I think that's what they're trying to say. But how they're gonna do it and how that agreement is gonna form, no idea. They probably a little bit information in the actual migration strategy, but again, it's just a brief report there. Consider how best regulate migration for low-pay workers. I think that's where they are going to talk about in the skill demand. There's another pathway for the low-pay worker there in the essential skill pathway. So area for future reform. Now, if you see future reform, I'm not too sure and not too confident how the Labour government will go through 2024. If they don't go through, doing a better jobs, they probably will be replaced by 2025. So they got 1 year to go, and this is only future reform. So what does that tell us? That means it may happen, it may not happen. Okay, so they only gonna start consultation in early and mid 2024. Consultation means they're gonna ask around, hey everybody, do you have any idea, advice, please submit it to us, and we will take another perhaps 6 months to digest all the information. I mean the government, what do you think? They act too slow, don't they? But anyhow, okay, now next, reshaping permanent skill migration to drive long-term prosperity. All right, prosperity. Explore reform point test, better identify. I think they've been talking about this since early 2023. Where is the reform? We haven't seen any piece of paper discussion yet, and it's still, again, area of future reform. So when are they going to implement that? No, until for the next government, perhaps? I don't know. Okay, discussion paper released in early 2024. So watch out for that area there. I'll do a specific video just to discuss all the recommendations, how people recommend. Despite there's already a recommendation on the migration review report back in April this year. I'm not too sure how they're gonna what other discussion papers is gonna discuss anymore. Okay. All right, next, consider developing new talent and innovation visa to drive growth in sectors of national importance. Consultation to begin early 2000. That this is beginning. It's only starting early 2024. They're only gonna discuss it from early 2024. So that's gonna be the new global talent, and the BIP program is Business Innovation and Investment program. Perhaps they're gonna merge it to a new hybrid GTI investment visa, right? That's what the easier way to understand it. Okay. Next one, strengthen the integrity, quality, international education. Now, this has been going. I'm not gonna talk about all these English increase of English proficiency and all that. This has been going on for years and years and years, and they are always tweaking and changing it. Some of them are already committed, and new commitments coming up. And we have discuss this in regards to the new temporary graduate visa under the age of 35 for the validity. I still put a question mark on that, as I have discussed in the previous video. How about the research fellow? How about the PhD students? Normally they will be over 35 once they graduated. So are you talking about, or are you basically discourage people to come into Australia to study PhD? So I doubt that on that part, and that is going to be the strength and simplifying temporary graduate visa right here. They're going to implement it by mid 2024, and I know there has been so many lobbyists going into the government say, look, this is BS. This is not gonna work. You gotta tailor it into different categories. So if they tell us the age limit of 35 is based on the master by coursework and bachelor. Now that is fair. Okay, so no one is going to study a master over 35. But if they're doing research and PhD, well, obviously their age can be, higher. And also, what about the the medical and healthcare students? Some of them may take 6 or 7 years of study on the medical degrees. So should you allow them to be over 35? I think that is way to go as well. So still a lot of things to be done there. Now, there's another future reform for international student graduate realizing their potential. I don't know what that really meant. I mean, how would the government to help the international student and graduate to actually realize their potential if they are limiting them on the validity of their temporary graduate visa, and limited the different ways of accessing, visa options? So how are they gonna, support international students graduate to realize their potential? I mean, I don't know what they're going to discuss that about. Okay, now next page. Okay, tackling worker exploitation and misuse of visa systems. So this has been ongoing for, again, decades. There's just too many loopholes to be, exploited. So I'm welcome this one. So new power to penalize unscrutinized employer. Yes, good. Migrant worker introduce a protection against a visa, given migrant opportunity where they experience exploitations. Better regulated migration agent crackdown. So I think what I read in the actual piece of document, they're talking about human trafficking, drugs, sex slaves, and things like that. And that has to be tackled anyway. That I think this not just for the visa, but for the AFP, Australian Federal Police, and the Border Force. So all the POT police kind of work to be related there. And rest of it is all about work rights, real-time priority processing, and protection visa. I'm not too sure how they're going to do real-time priority, provided it's so many backlog and delay there. Create united intelligence, investigation, compliance, and capability of Department of Homeland. Now that is really vague. Now, does that mean that the current Department of Home Affairs system is not united? It's independently, acted in different way. I'm not too sure. Never work in the government and public sector there. Develop public register approved sponsor. Very work on that one. So I think this will be implemented 2012 in line with the new skilled demand visa. So when is a skilled demand visa coming out again? Let's go back there. Skills in demand, specialist skill pathway, late 2024. So that's a little bit long for us to get that done. Strengthen integrity approved sponsor application process. I think they already got done, but this says future reform. So again, anything that you see future reform, it's question mark. Okay. Improve post-arrival monitoring and compliance, including through coordination of the tax system. I think that's already implemented already. Now next page. Planning migration to get right skill, right place. So plan migration over a long-term horizon to better manage migrants with greater take of territory collaborations. Not too sure how they're gonna get that done, but they got a lot of agenda to talk about and discuss. Okay, work with the state and territory, although they are already working with, states and territory already. Establish formal role of the job skill, Australia. Yeah, we understand that. Improve approach, skill recognition and assessment. Better unlock potential migrant. How are you gonna do that? I'm not too sure. It's gonna implement it early and mid 2024. So are they telling us that the current skill assessing authority are really there's improvement gonna be done? Perhaps, or is it redundant? Do we really need a skill recognition or assessment? It's it's either way. I would say yes and no, but just see how they go. Approach and enhance outreach program, improve access to the migration system. I don't know why they're talking about on that one there. Bring evidence-based or tripartite. Didn't we just saw that up in the first page? I'm not too sure where they're gonna do it anyway. So where they're saying that here go coordinate with evidence-based tripartite approach, and they're talking about that down here as well. So bring evidence-based. Don't know what they're talking about. So see how that goes. Tailoring regional visa. So they're gonna prioritize regional Australia's visa. So that's already done. So designated visa processing regional. That's we seen that in my previous video where they have a ministerial direction. They gotta prioritize, but I'm not too sure how quick that's gonna be. If anyone has been lodging 491, 191, or 494, perhaps you can tell us, share with your experience with us how prioritized you feel that your visa application has been. Evaluate regional migration setting and working holiday maker, ensure migration support development objectives in regional Australia and does not contribute to exploitation of migrant. Well, this is again future reform. Don't know what they're gonna talk about there anyway. Okay, last page. Now, deepening our people-to-people ties. This is really vague. Now they have got the Kiwis coming to Australia 4 years to transfer into. They can apply for citizenship, and they talked about the so-called agriculture visa, and then they Labor came in. They killed the agriculture visa, replaced with the PALM, Pacific Australia Labor Mobility, and looks like it's still going on. So they got reform implemented July, and they're gonna implement more in 2024. I'm not too sure how to get down that. And there's a special visa for the Tuvalu citizen who is affected by climate thingo, that the rise of the sea, so they can, and it's in progress. Very good. Okay, so if you're Tuvalu citizens and you're affected by the sea level risings, you may apply for Australian citizenship or permanent resident, and they're gonna make it easier for the Southeast Asians for businesses. So that's a very good one as well. So that's including Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand. Okay, last but not least, simplifying migration system. Or they talking about simplifying migration system for probably a century. Okay, so how are they going to simplify it? They're making it more complex. So I don't really believe on this one. Investor reduce backlog. Gosh, there's still a lot of backlog going on. I thought the new Labour government will reduce all the backlog, but they came out and said there's 2.5 million visa application in the pipeline. We cannot blah blah blah. Anyway, they just not gonna get it done. Abolish unnecessary duplicated visa. I agree with that one. Embedded simplifying the key objective of the action in migration strategy, whatever that is. Okay, that's pretty vague. That's basically telling us that we are committed to get this migration strategy action plan done. So why on earth are you putting it on the last page anyway? So anyhow, that's what you gotta expect for 2024 for Australian migration. Surprisingly, asking me whether it's a good opportunity for the future or not. Well, look, it's 2024. I believe it's gonna be a crazy year again, because a lot of problem really hasn't been solved. So really looking forward for new policies and regulations, but the speed, how effective they can implement it. Just don't come out and tell everybody that the validity of such and such visa are going to change and downgrade of the age. And it's just not considering the existing migrants or visa holders in Australia and who are looking to apply in the future as well. Anyhow, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I see you next year. Happy New Year. Goodbye.